Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new and redesigned 2022 Mercedes Benz SL63 Roadster. Massive shout out to Mercedes Benz Northlake for providing this sports car for me today. Definitely take a look at their website. That info is down in the description. The SL63 that you see behind me is finished off in Moonlight White Mango, basically a matte white, which is beautiful on this car, and it has an MSRP just under $190,000. And underneath the hood for this SL63, this utilizes the 4-liter bi-turbo V8 paired to the AMG Speed Shift 9-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 577 horsepower around 5,500 RPM and 590 pound-feet of torque around 2,200 RPM. That power sent through the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 4,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds with a top speed of 193 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 18.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city and 21 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 106.3 inches. Its overall length is 185.2. It has a width of 75.4 and a height of 53.3 inches. As we make our way to the exterior styling now for this all-new SL63, let's start off with the massive Mercedes-Benz badge right in the middle. So this is actually a forward-facing sensor, so it's nice that it's incorporated into the logo itself. This has a forward-facing camera with parking sensors as well, and there's even another Mercedes-Benz badge just on the top section, just underneath the hood line there. The grille on this is pretty narrow and wide. It has plenty of cutouts for that bi-turbo V8. There's also plenty more cutouts in the lower section as well as on both sides. And with the bodywork and the black running right through the middle, gives it a very cool look, especially with how much white you can see on each side. This even has a set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a sleek design to them. I love the line that comes off the top section, making its way towards the grille, just to add some more contoured lines, along with the two that are coming down the hood. This is a very, very sporty and aggressive front end for this sports car. As we move on to the side, this has the optional 21-inch wheels. They are finished off in black. As you can see, this has the yellow brake calipers just behind it with a silver strip running on the outside. I think that's a perfect touch, especially with this white. You can see the black trim piece just behind that, along with the V8 bi-turbo 4MATIC badge. Now the side mirrors are finished off in gloss black, which is a great accent. These even have the turn signals and the camera system as well. There's more gloss black in the lower side skirt just to give it a little bit more definition. And with the top down, this is a very beautiful Roadster. And then with the black soft top, matches all the black accents very nicely and still gives it a great look. As we work our way to the rear end now, this does have an active wing, which will deploy at speed, of course. There's the AMG badge along with SL63. This has a sleek set of LED taillights wrapping around that whole rear corner. And then this has a backup camera, which will actually pop out when you put it into reverse. There's parking sensors as well, more gloss black in the lower diffuser, as well as that quad tip dual AMG exhaust, which will start up in just a little bit. But let's move on to the cargo space now. I can hold this button on the key fob because this is a power trunk. You can hold on that button to close it as well. And all new for this SL63, the convertible top actually folds into its own compartment. So as you can tell right now, with it down, you can't even see it from the cargo area. So there's a little bit of storage space that you can utilize up front there. As you can see, my camera bag is in there just to give you some reference. So you have a good amount of space for this being a convertible where you could place in a lot of items, makes it that much more practical. You can also use the buttons up underneath the trunk lid to lock the vehicle or just close it if you want to, and then use the key fob like I mentioned earlier. So let's make our way to the driver interior now. As you can tell, the vehicle is currently locked. All I need to do is place my hand somewhere on the door panel. It will sense your hand, of course. The handle will pop out, and then you can use this button on the back side to lock the vehicle. So it's pretty cool to see that. We can grab the handle from there and open this up, where this has a beautiful door panel. Everything is finished off in leather, piano black, or all of the brushed aluminum. This has the 11-speaker Burmester audio sound system. The release handle has lock and unlock as well with this brush trim. All of the seat adjustments are just in front of that, where there's the memory seating adjustments as well. You even have the heated and ventilated seat options. You can also control the front passenger seat as well with the same controls just by pushing on that. And you'll notice too, all of these are on one pad. So just by pushing that, the entire thing will move, but it just depends on which button that you push on, of course. Underneath that is the window adjustments along with the side mirror controls, which are power operated. And there's a little bit of storage in the lower section of the door, as well as the trunk release too. So very nice to see that. The brushed aluminum makes its way to the door sill, where AMG is an illuminating badge. It's going to be hard to see during the day, of course. And then as we take a look at these black leather seats, AMG is just underneath the headrest. They have great perforations for them, as well as the bolstering support, all of the stitching, of course. Now let's take a look at these back seats now. All I need to do is pull on this tab. I can move the backrest forward, where the entire seat will also make its way forwards too. Now you're not buying this vehicle for a full 4-seater vehicle. And of course, with the top down, it's going to make it much easier to get in and out. Now on this passenger side with the seat back, you pretty much don't have any leg room. Really no amenities for your backseat passengers, but they are here if you need to use them. And of course, with the top down, makes it a little bit better compared to having the top up. As you can tell, really not the most comfortable for full-size adults, but if you need to use them, they're there. You can use this for better interior storage too. So it makes it a little bit more open for the interior. Now, as we make our way back, jumping out to the front seats, it's going to move back into its normal position. It's a pretty low door sill, so this is an easy sports car to enter and exit. It's not really that low, so it makes it very nice. Now the steering wheel is completely covered in solid and perforated leather with the AMG badge down on the lower section. We have a lot of controls going on here. In order to activate those, let's fire this SL63 up. So with my foot on the brake, that button is over there, and we can bring this to life. Currently on the screen setup right now, the G-force meter's on that left side. On the right side, you can see some other vitals along with the RPM right in the middle. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you will see those adjust as needed. There's also some fixed information running across the bottom. And so if I use these buttons over on the left side, if I push on home, you can actually go through different screen setups. So in Super Sport, you will see it change slightly. I can also go into Sport, where it will change again, just in a little bit different of a form. We can go into Classic now, where you'll pull up the miles per hour and the tach. So if you're just driving this down the road and you want to see all this information, you can even scroll through all the information right in the middle. So you can see the driving modes, as well as some temperatures. There's even the navigation too, so you can have that pulled up. You can look at music, your attention assist, the consumption. There is a lot that you can scroll through. If I push on home again, we'll go to understated, where everything gets a little bit more calm. So if you don't want a lot of information visible, you can do that. You can also pull up the navigation in the full screen view there, which is awesome to have. You can look at your assistants, there's different service that you can go into. And then what's really neat about this system, if I scroll up, this is actually all of your heads-up display settings. So you can choose whether you want it on or off. If I turn it on, these are the different modes for your heads-up display. So you have track pace, super sport, pretty much the same gauge cluster design that you'll have here is now on the heads-up display. It's going to be hard to see, but you can see on this screen here what it's going to show. Now also over on this left side is all of the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. And underneath that, there's a rotary dial where you have a lot more settings to go through. So currently you can see in the upper section, if I push on this, we have the active spoiler, there's also the AMG dynamics, traction control, there's the exhaust note, and then we're back to settings. You can do the same thing with the lower section there, and then to activate it, you simply just push on this. So we have drive, we have the manual setting, we can easily turn on and off traction control, and turn on the suspension there with the different modes, as well as the exhaust note too. Very cool to see that configurable dial. Over on the right side is the different driving modes. So if I turn that dial, you'll see in the all new center screen, we can go through the different driving modes, and hopefully you can hear that exhaust get quieter when we go through some of these. And then above that, you'll notice volume as well as Bluetooth and voice commands. There's even a favorites button. So if I push on that, you can quickly activate that to what you use the most. And then above that, all of these are the same controls you saw on the left side. However, those are for the center screen. So you can use those to go through all that information. We'll come back to that screen in just a second. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, which are finished off in brushed aluminum. They have a nice feel to them, good size as well. And for the stock behind that, this is how you actually put the vehicle into the gears. So with my foot on the brake, if I push this all the way up, that is for reverse, where you'll see the backup camera appear along with the top-down view. And there's a few different angles, just depending on what you need to see. So we have the exterior, of course, There's also an auto button, there's the parking sensors, and the last one here is a GPS position saved. So the camera will automatically turn on when it gets back to this spot. That is pretty cool to see. If I go all the way down, that is for drive. You'll see the top-down view there, which is awesome. And then park is just by pushing on the end of it. Headlights and turn signals are on that left side. Now also over on this left side, there's the electronic parking brake along with all the headlight adjustments. This even has the interior lighting, so hopefully you can tell it is currently purple at the moment. There's one air vent finished off in brushed aluminum. The entire dash is covered in leather. Gives it a really nice look. Now to make our way to the rest of all the information in this center infotainment system, if I just push on this here, we have where you can look for parking spaces, gas stations, things like that. If I just tap anywhere, that will disappear. And currently you can see the navigation right now, so full screen for all the information. Now at the very bottom, this is one entire button. So just depending on where I push, we can get to this information. You already saw all the different driving modes. You can go through the drive, the suspension, all the dynamics. We can quickly turn on and off that exhaust note along with traction control, and if you want to be in the manual setting or not. You can even go up here and customize how you'd like to have this set up just by pushing on these. Pretty awesome to see that. You have different settings that you can go into as far as what you would like to see on that button over on the left side of the steering wheel. So it's pretty awesome to have that. Now there's a shortcut to the camera system. You already saw all that information. There's also the parking assistance, which will help you find a spot. Pretty cool to see that. Now there's a home button right in the middle, and then moving to the next right button, if I push on this, this is actually for the top. So just by sliding this to the left or the right, you can put the top up or the top down. And then with the car icon right next to that, we have the heads up display. Basically, this is like a favorites in a sense, where you can go through all this information just depending on what you need. Now the hazards are right in the middle. There's also another dial that you can use. This is the finger sensor, so you can use that as needed, or you can use the touch screen or the ones on the steering wheel. We can shut that screen off if you'd like to, the display or the entire system. And then just next to that, you can actually tilt the angle of the screen. So if I go all the way up, you will see that adjust. Pretty cool to see that. So just depending on maybe the sunlight, if you have the top down and you need a different angle, you can quickly adjust that. And then volume for the radio is on that far right side. Now, as you've been able to tell in the lower section, we have all the climate adjustments. So you can easily get to the fan speed. You can adjust the temperature for driver and passenger. There's even a climate menu, so you can pull up all that information in more of a full screen, just depending on what you'd like to see. It's a pretty intuitive system and has a lot to offer. And then tucked up behind that is the engine start stop button, along with the engine start stop feature, so you can adjust that. Now right in the middle, if I open this up, we have a wireless charging pad in the front section, along with some auxiliaries. There's also 2 cup holders as well. And behind that, we have this area where you can basically just rest your hand. Behind that, we have the split design for the armrest. And if I open this up, good amount of space along with some more auxiliaries. Now over on the glove box, there's plenty of room for all that information, and I love all the leather and the stitching. You can see more of that ambient lighting. It's even down underneath the grab handle. We'll take another look at this beautiful interior for this SL65. Up top, there's even more lighting on the back section of this. It almost has a floating design to it. There's a few call buttons on the back side, and this even has the touch-sensitive dome lights. All right, so as we get behind the wheel now of this all-new redesigned Mercedes Benz SL63, I think this is the first SL63 that we've been able to actually check out, and it's awesome to be able to be behind the wheel of one that is completely new. So if you are familiar with the previous models for the 63, pretty much everything on the interior of this model is completely new. The screen is new, the gauge cluster is new, everything is new with this model. Even some of the exterior styling, the previous SL63 wasn't quite as sporty in my opinion. I looked up some pictures just for reference, and the interior was far outdated. So I love this refresh, and to be able to drive this and at least check it out. And I have it in, well, let's go to the AMG button. We're gonna go into Sport S, where we have everything on, even the exhaust. And from second gear, here we go. Now with a mild acceleration for today, that got up and moved. Now it's not quite as loud as I was hoping for. Maybe if I mashed the gas a little bit more, which I'm not doing, it would get a little bit louder, but we do have everything on at the moment. And as far as just driving this is a sports car that you can definitely have some fun with. As far as visibility goes, with the top up, it's really not all that hard to see. You can hear that exhaust rumbling here. We'll merge out into traffic now with ease. Oh, this is so cool. We have the Alcantara headliner, which I didn't even notice before, but even with this convertible top, so far it's been pretty quiet. I love how this basically is like a coupe with the option to put the top down. So it's very quiet, even though you can hear that exhaust. It's super comfortable to drive. Mercedes are known for having well-handling vehicles that are going to be great for daily driving too. You could absolutely daily drive this SL63. You have plenty of room. You have room for people in the back if you need to use those seats. Again, you're not buying this to put 3 other people in here all the time, but it's nice to have that extra interior space, especially for how small this vehicle is. And one thing with this SL63 is it's actually replacing the AMG GT Roadster. So instead of having a convertible or a Roadster for that trim level, it is coming into the SL63 now. So the AMG GT will just be a coupe, and if you want a Roadster, you get the SL63. So pretty interesting to see them switch that over. I do think the AMG GT looks so much better being a coupe, but with the SL63, it looks good either way. I'm pretty impressed with its styling, with the top up or down. And if you don't want to spend the money for the SL63, you can get the SL53. It has the same engine as the 63, just a little bit detuned, and it's also a lot less expensive. So if you're looking for that, you have the option for a different trim level too. Let's put it into comfort real quick. You can hear it relax a little bit more. We'll do 1 acceleration so at least you can hear it. It gets a little bit less loud. Obviously you can still hear it because this is a V8. And I am very impressed and happy with Mercedes-Benz for keeping the V8 in this Roadster, because a lot of, right next to that truck there, you could hear that downshift. But a lot of manufacturers are going away from the V8. So for Mercedes to keep this bi-turbo, basically twin-turbo V8 in this Roadster is pretty impressive, because it just has that sound that you're looking for, and it pulls pretty good for the mild acceleration that I'm doing in today's video. And so switching over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel for this all-new SL63. Definitely a great spot to be. I love all of this technology. And I haven't switched over, well, we have been in the track system for the gauge cluster here. And with the heads-up display, you can also see what gear you're in as well. So we'll give it a little bit of gas. Just a mild acceleration, and this definitely gets up and moves. So as we slow down, we are going to put the top down so we can get that experience. I think you can do this moving. We might have to be going at a slow rate of speed, but we'll go ahead and initiate that. I think we do have to come to a stop. And this is a pretty quick system. It will fold all the way back. You can see the diagram as it's happening too. And it will beep once it's ready. Now I'll put the side windows back up just for audio purposes. And here we go, we'll listen to that exhaust. Definitely has a good tone to it. I'm sure it would be a little bit louder if I stepped on it more. But with the windows up, it's really nice and composed. I'm only going 40 miles an hour, but of course with a convertible, you're expecting all of the wind noise and that top-down experience. This also handles really well. I haven't been able to go on any twisties really, but you can tell that the steering is very direct. And this would be, for a Roadster, this would be a great performing Mercedes Benz to take on the back roads, mountain roads, even the track, and really have a ton of fun. But that is going to wrap it up for the walk around review and test drive behind the wheel of this all new 2022 Mercedes Benz SL63. Once again, huge shout out to Mercedes Benz Northlake for providing this Roadster for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.